And so this here is what we call our crush pad. So any winery you visit where wine is made from start to finish, and what I mean by that is like starting off with the raw ingredients with the grapes, you're going to have a grape reception and grape processing area. We call it a crush pad. This is where the grapes get crushed or pressed. And I don't know if anyone remembers watching Lucille Ball, I Love Lucy. They used to step on the grapes.
Yes.
So human feet are very gentle, but they're not very efficient. So the machines we use are gentle and efficient. And that's why
it does the job.
That's why we no longer trot on them, even though it does work. That technique does work. But like I said,
that's how it was done traditionally.
Yeah, and there's still places in the world that do it. That is how it was done traditionally, you know, before we had such machines.
Yes.
In places like Portugal, they still, you know, it's a lot of fun. They lock arms, they drink, they sing, and they trod on the grapes.
It's an event.
It's a party. Yeah. And it's still a party here. It's just we have work to do. We have to process tons and tons of grapes, and so it's much more efficient to do it like this.
And how long does the crushing process take?
So the big press over here can take about 4 or 5 tons of grapes, and it takes about 2.5 hours to fully extract the juice from the grape skins.
How many tons of grapes do you guys crush on average?
In a year, every season, we do about 100 to 150 tons. Remember I told you it depends on Mother Nature.
Yes.
So it can vary, but...
that's an average.
But that's, yeah. And, you know, that sounds like a lot, and it is a lot on one hand. On the other hand, keep in mind there are other wineries around the world that do 10 or 100 times as much every year. So we're really quite small in the global wine industry.
But this particular press is specifically for the white grape?
White and red. But so one key thing to understand is when we're pressing the whites, it's juice.
Right.
And by the time we press the reds, it's not juice that's dripping out, it's wine. Because the way you make red wine is by fermenting the grapes with the skins and all the solids. And by the solids, I mean the skins, the seeds. And that's where the tannin and the color comes from in red wine, is by soaking the juice with the skins.
And so that's the difference between red wine and white wine?
Yes, that's one big difference.
Wow.
And have you heard of orange wine?
Nope, never heard of it.
So orange wine, it's a small category in wine, but basically an orange wine is a white wine that was handled like a red wine. In other words, they're white varieties that are fermented with their skins.
In terms of process,
then? Yeah, so the process mimics red wine making, but with white varieties, and consequently the color is a little bit darker, and it's often a little bit orange-like, and that's hence the term orange. But that also brings up rosé. How do you make rosé?
If rosé would be considered orange wine. Okay.
No. So it's not. Because rosé is rosé, it's pink.
Yeah,
it's the pink drink. And so rosé, you treat it like a red wine, but only for a few hours. Because red wine, like I was saying, you ferment it with the skins for weeks, for 2 or 3 weeks or more.
Yeah.
And for a rosé, you do the same thing, but only for a few hours, 2, 4, 6 hours, or 12, 18 hours, but not, you measure it in hours, not days or weeks.
Okay.
And then you press it, and at that time you get a very, it's more than pink. It's a darker purplish color, and then you treat it like a white wine from then on. And by the end, you're left with this pink color instead of a red, the color you see in a red wine.
So we have white wine, red wine, orange wine, rosé.
Yeah.
Are there any other types?
Well, then those are most of the colors, and then you have different categories. Is it dry or is it sweet?
Yes.
Dry is referring to the absence of sweetness. So is it sparkling or dessert? And in fact, we do all those. We make dry wine, we make sweet wine, we make dessert wine. We make wines that are slightly dry, slightly sweet, but then very sweet dessert wines.
Yes. Okay.
And we also make some sparkling wine as well.
So the sweet wines are considered dessert wines?
Yeah. Sweet is kind of a broad term, but like we make a wine like our semi-dry Riesling.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Semi-dry meaning it's not totally dry, which means it has a little bit of sugar, as 30 grams per liter or 3% residual sugar. So it tastes a little bit sweet, but not too sweet. But we also make some late harvest dessert wines. And so the late harvest wines, as the name implies, are harvested later than usual, and they begin to dehydrate and shrivel and turn into a raisin. And so when they're dehydrating, they're losing water, thereby concentrating the sugar, the flavor, the acidity, the aroma, the color. Everything is more concentrated, and it's really rich and intense and luscious and nectar-like. And that's why we only serve, that's why it comes in small bottles.
Yes.
And you only need a couple of ounces because it's so rich. You don't want to drink a whole big glass of it.
Okay. Well, at least you shouldn't.
You should, yeah. To each their own, yeah.
Coming up after the break, we take a look at where all the wine barrels are stored. Conversations with Ren and Kim, New York edition, will be right back. Discover the charm of Portmanock Vineyards, nestled on the scenic North Fork of Long Island. Established in 1983 by the Massoud family, the estate winery spans 85 acres dedicated to producing the finest wines, including New York's original and leading Chenin Blanc. Visit us at Portmanock Vineyards, where you can relax in our beautiful vineyards, savor exquisite wines, and enjoy delicious food. Follow us on Instagram at Portmanock Vineyards for more information. Cheers to great wine and unforgettable moments.
In need of reliable transportation solutions in Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, St. Vincent, or Grenada? Welcome to Kaluz Auto Rentals, your trusted partner for all your transportation requirements. Whether it's car rentals, chauffeur services, minibus coach charters, or upscale limousine rides, we offer a comprehensive range of options. Choose Kaluz Auto Rentals for a seamless, professional, and efficient journey every time. Kaluz Auto Rentals, your reliable travel partner.